Hi. Hi Anfield. Sup? तेरा इंतजार है जो तेरे संग प्रीत है बार बार तेरा Not small James tutorial, but big Reactor. Yeah, because I was watching his tutorial and I ran into this context thing, and I was like, he explained it, but it was not that clear, so I had to read this article on the context thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Small James is the guy. Man. He's the man. Yeah. Again, gonna go back to him when this thing is over. Right now I'm trying to like build this kind of thing. It's not a building thing, but yeah, I'm trying to understand this. Like, yeah, I got it, I guess. On the hub? On the hub? Oh, eh? What do you mean? Hi. Hi. Ohayo. Taiga-san. Hi. Good morning. Actually, it's still night here. It's not even 2 a.m. right now. But yeah. Hi. Are you going to watch Small James again on the hub? Yeah, of course. He's the guy. I told you, he's the guy. He's the man. Can't leave a man. And meet Taiga. He's a Japanese guy. A Japanese boy. Boy, yeah. The other person in the chat. Audio. Yeah, yes. Hi. By the way, Taiga, I'm learning stuff. Nihonjin kakkoi. Nani ga kakkoi daro? Tada बयां करूं कैसे तेरा इंतजार है तेरा इंतजार है. Post. Oh, all post. Da yone. To be honest, you should start using AI for assistance. Thanks. Also, I do use it. I just don't show it. I do use this AI, but I'm not having any problems right now. I was doing this thing off stream, and last time when I streamed like an hour ago, people were asking me dumb questions, and like one guy is like he was talking random stuff, so I had to like turn off the stream. No, I didn't turn off, but like my electricity lights went out, so I had to. Hi, Yoke-san website を作ってるの。Great. Yeah. Thanks, man. But I'm learning stuff right now. बाया करूँ कैसे तेरा इंतज़ार है तेरा इंतज़ार है. Oh, I'm sorry. Buenos días. Flavor. Flavors of. What are flavors? Flavors of. Papa James. Papa James. Yeah. I don't need to. Body. That's going to be body. पाया करूँ कैसे तेरा इंतज़ार है. Yeah, those. What are those? Pastilles de nata. I don't know what it means. Lol. Yeah. Title. Papa James. Title and body. Body. Sorry. Papa James. Papa James. ちょっとね。タイトル。タイトル。どれ？だよね。Why do I say that? だよね。早くるकैसे Papa James. 早くるकैसे तेरा इंतज़ार है. Papa James. Oh. Yoda. What's this? Okay. What kind of website are you making? Right now I'm not making a website. Yesterday I was making and I'm learning some concept right now that I don't know. Yesterday I was making this. I will show you, man. What do I have to do here? Wait a sec.どこだろう Web install. I'm completing this one right now. Open terminal. Yeah, like yesterday I was making this. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I guess. So yeah, like I was doing this, and of course I'm following a tutorial, but yeah. It feels like I'm scamming by saying that I built this on my own, but no. But yeah, I was working on this, so yeah, yeah. My header, it's not headers. What am I? Heading. Title. Yeah, now it looks good. Handle, post is italic. Okay, all that has that. Okay, we can, we had it over here, so instead of that we can just look. First we'll do that. Should I yellow one? तेरे तंग लागी पीते मोहे. Sorry, yo kita ne. Please work. Yeah. Hi. That means all different. Separated. Everything is. Flavors of Papa James. Post is italic. But what we do now is post is italic. But we want the bodies. We want the bodies here. Body makes like this. Those pasties de nada. Yeah, nothing here, but yeah. Post, recent post, flavors of Papa James, and then that, all that, and Buenos noches and Ares. We'll add that too. Oh no, we'll just copy that. It's yeah. I see so many lags in my YT shorts feed. Lags? What do you mean? What are you watching? Well, the YouTube only suggests you content that you watch. That means you really like lags. NVM, you're too pure. What do you mean lags? Lags like lags? Dang, man. I guess it's something that I don't know. Yeah. Well, you can tell me if it's the thing that I have no idea. You can blow my mind, blow my brains. Recent posts, and let me do that. Like I want everything to be same. Why does it this thing have that? Oh yeah, above we have that travelers and all that. Travelers, and maybe that's my true calling. Huh? That's your true calling? Okay, now it's fine. What do you mean? What you talking about? Your true calling and all that? No idea, baby. What you talking? Yeah, it's the same now. Yeah. Legs. Huh? What? Legs? Legs ka legs? Legs like legs? Yeah, I understood legs. Oh, you're asking legs? You didn't do anything special. Ashika? You didn't do anything special for this to work. A section specifies Lama. Legs in the sense like girls with bad legs, you know. Like that legs. What? You didn't do anything special for this to work. A section specifies the context. A section specifies the context for the tree inside it, so you can insert heading anywhere, and it will have to correct size. Try it in the sandbox above. Already late. Futomomo. Naruhodo. Naruhodo ne. I still don't understand. You didn't do anything special for this to work. A section specifies the context for the tree inside it, so you can insert a heading anywhere. A section specifies the section specifies the context for the tree inside it. Okay, so you can insert heading anywhere and it will have the correct size. बाया करूँ कैसे तेरा इंतजार है. It will have the correct size. Size oh. Sorry no. Okay. YouTube Khan is suggesting me. Futomomo. Size. YouTube Khan is suggesting you. Size. Context lets you write components that adapt to their surroundings. Context lets you write components that adapts to their surroundings and display themselves differently depending on where. Where, or in other words, in which context they are being rendered. Context lets you write components that adapt to their surroundings and display themselves differently depending on where. Context lets you write components. Context lets you write components that adapt to their surroundings and display themselves differently depending on where, or in other words, in which context they are being referred. How context works might remind you of CSS property inheritance. In CSS, you can specify color blue for a div, and any DOM inside of it, no matter how deep, will inherit that color unless some other DOM node is in the middle overrides it with color green. Similar in React, the only way to override some context coming from above is to wrap children into context provided with a different value. Similar in React, the only way to override some context coming from above is to wrap children into context provider with a different value. In CSS, different properties like color and background color don't override each other. You can set all divs color to red without impacting background color. Similarly, different React contexts don't override each other. Different React contexts don't override each other. Each context that you make with create context is completely separate from other ones and ties together. Each context that you make with create context is completely different, completely separate from other ones, and ties together components using and providing that particular context. One component may use or provide many different contexts without a problem. One component may use or provide many different contexts without a problem. Okay, before you use context is very tempting to use. However, this also means it's too easy to overuse it. Just because you need to pass some props several levels deep doesn't mean you should put that information into context. Here's a few alternatives you should consider before using context. Okay, now start by passing props. If your component are not trivial, if your components are not trivial, what do you mean by trivial? Mamuli naganya okay. Start by passing props. If your components are not trivial, it's not unusual to pass a dozen props down through a dozen components. If your component start by passing props. If your components are not trivial, it's not unusual to pass a dozen props down through a dozen components. Thanks, reaching sheesh. What? If your component are not trivial, it's not unusual to pass a dozen props down through a dozen components. It may feel like a slog, but it may feels like a slog. What the heck is a slog? आगे बढ़ना झपट करना बड़ा टुकड़ा छोटा. Dang, reading sheesh. Reaching. Okay. Keyboard gun. It may feel like a slog, but it makes it very clear which component use which data. It may feel like a slog, but it makes it very clear which components use which data. The person maintaining your code will be glad you have made the data flow explicit with props. Extract components and pass JSX as children to them. Extract components and pass JSX as children to them. If you pass some data through many layers of intermediate components that don't use that data and only pass it further down, this often means that you forgot to extract some component along the way. Extract components, pass JSX as children to them. Pass JSX as children to them. If you pass some data through many layers of intermediate components, if you pass some data through many layers of intermediate components that don't use that data. Back to work tomorrow, sheesh. I haven't been off and off because of holidays. I have been off, I guess. I have been off and off because of holidays. You were enjoying the holidays. Tomorrow you have to go back to work. Let's go. How many holidays did you have? Dang. I used up my 19 days in one go. For 19 days. Dang. So it was the year end, so you took a 19 days leave. What? Not all in one go. Okay, I understand that. Then okay. Okay. Extract components and pass JSX as children to them. Extract component and pass JSX as children to them. If you pass some data through many layers of intermediate components that don't use that data and only pass it further down, this often means that you forgot to extract some components along the way. This often means that you forgot to extract some components along the way. For example, maybe you pass data props like posts to visual components that don't use them directly, like layout, pose. Instead, make layout that take children as props. Take children Indonimo Yurio Seido ga mochirarete iru no ka? Yeah, people use it. No, yeah. Of course. Like if you're working for a good company, then yeah. Not for a private company. They don't do that. Okay, for example, maybe you pass data props like posts to visual components. To visual components that don't use them directly, like layout, pose. Instead, make layout take children as props. Take children as props to layout and render layout posts. This reduces the number of layers between the components. This reduces the number of layers between the component specifying the data and the one that needs it. Reduces the number of layers between the component specifying that the data and the one that needs it. If neither of these approaches work well, you consider context. Okay. Is it over? Okay. Use cases for context. Theming. If your app lets the user change its appearance dark mode, you can put a context provided at the top of your app, and you can put a context provided at the top of your app and use that context in your components that need to adjust visual looks. Okay. Current account. Many components might need to know the current logged in user. Current account. Many components might need to know the current logged in users. Putting it in context make it convenient to read it anywhere in the tree. Some apps also let you operate multiple accounts at the same time to leave a comment as a different user. In those cases, it can be convenient to wrap a part of UI into a nested provider with a different current account value. In those cases, it can be convenient to wrap a part of UI into a nested provider with a different current account. I don't know what it means, but routing. Yoksh's future wife. How many kids, Yoksh? We can use props for our children. Let's go. Routing. Most routing solutions use context internally to hold the current route. Most routing. What's routing? Most routing solutions use context internally to hold the current route. This is how every link knows. I know. Every link knows whether it's active or not. If you build your own router, whatever, you might want to do it too. By managing state. As your app grows, you might end up with a lot of state closer to the top of your app. As your app grows, you might end up with a lot of state closer to the top of your app. Many distant components below may want to change it. It is common to use a reducer together with context to manage complex state and pass it down to the distant components without too much hassle. Context is not limited to static values. If you pass a different value on the next render, React will update all the components reading it below. This is why context is often used in combinations with state. In general, if some information is needed by distant components in different parts of the tree, in general, if some information is needed by distant components in different parts of the tree, it's a good indication that context will help. Recap. Context though lets a component provide some information to the entire tree below it. Lets a component provide some information to the entire tree below it to pass context. Create and export it. Okay, with export const my context create we create it, then we store it into a variable, and then we export it and pass it to the use context. That's use context, and we pass this bitch over here, and then we can use it, but still we are using it but not actually using it. Hook to read it in any child component, no matter how deep. Okay, wrap children into the chuk like that, and to provide it from a parent. Okay, value and what do we like? I'm not sure. Like that. Okay, wrap children. Okay, my context. This is okay here, like wrap children into level context. This is my context. Okay, so we wrap it like that, and then we give the value. Here is +1, but value level, like that. Context to provide it from a parent. Context passes through any components in the middle. Context passes through any components in the middle. Context lets you write components that adapt to their surroundings. My context passes through any components in the middle. Context lets you write components that adapt to their surroundings. That adapt to their surroundings. Before you use context, try using props as JSX as children. Try challenge Danyong. Try out some challenges. Challenge one of one. Challenge 1 of 1. Okay, challenge 1 of 2. Okay, sorry. Replace prop drilling with context. Okay, in this example, toggling the, what's this then? Okay, baby. Replace prop drilling with context. In this example, toggling the checkbox. Oh, like that. Okay. In this example, toggling the checkbox changes image size prop passed to each place. Okay. Toggling the checkbox changes the image size prop. Okay. Image size prop. Oh baby, mama. What happened? Can't believe it's already 2026. Yes, I do. Why? Did you make your $1,000 a day? You were going to make that. Did you make it or not? But in this example, toggling the checkbox changes the image size. Okay. We are changing it. Prop based to the like that, okay. Bare. How am I gonna do that? That's it. It's going to be another year soon. Oh yeah. There are 365 days. Don't worry. It's 360. 64. Okay. Don't count today. Image size prop based to each place image. Yeah, what's this? Why does it look like that? In this example, toggling the checkbox changes the image size prop based to each place. Place image. Tick 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 like that. Okay. Mama, how am I gonna do this? The checkbox state is held in the top. Checkbox state is held in the top level app component, but each place image needs to be aware of it. State, okay. State large, if is large, then that false and that. Okay. But each place image needs to be aware of it. Currently, app passes image size to list, which passes is to place. But app passes image size to list. Okay. Okay, and here list, which is doing what? It's doing this. It's passing this to this here. That's prop drilling. And the place. Again, bitch. Again, it's going. Yeah, like that and that. Maika. Which passes is to the please image, remove the image prop, and which passes it to the please image and remove the image size prop, and instead pass it down to the app component directly to place image. Oh my god, I don't know sir. Sore nano e yakwa, that's it. De yoin deshitakke? Yakwa, that's it. De yoin deshitakke? Sore na that's it. Come to Japan, please. What? Yeah, I'll be coming. Sorena, that's it. Sorena, that's it. That's it. Is it like Sorena? That's it. Not sure. Not sure. Wait a minute. That's it. Sorry, nano. Kana. Sorry, na. I guess so. Yeah. That's it. Odd. You got that right exactly. Sorry, na. Exactly this deshta. So this it's better. So this ne. Sorry na. I never used it. Like never heard this sorry na, like that. I know it's sorry and na place, but not sure. Like don't really hear about it. You know. Context data, all that. I'm gonna make a new one. I don't wanna solve it. Yeah, like my brain just shuts down when I'm trying to solve it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's make a new one. Sorry na. Nanja. Nani? When I don't understand Japanese, I will say so this. So this. Where am I? npm create with latest. Is that how you write latest? What should I name it? I'm stealing it. Image. No. Like, image. No. Image. तेरी माँ की तेरी ना. But I also say yeah when I don't understand English. I just pretend that I understand when I don't understand Japanese. I like oh yeah. I also do the same. Just fake it till you make it. Just pretend that you understand and yeah. That's it. Components. Components. I'm gonna make so many components. Then that means I'll. Naruhodo. So wakaru. Yeah, that's a good one. You can do that. Context, data, JS, and all that. Data, JS, data, utils, JS. One. What am I supposed to do? Okay. Hut साला मैं नहीं कर रहा यार. Yeah. Wait a minute. Where was that? I'm not sure. I feel like cheating when I copy and paste everything. I don't want to do that. I can do it with this thing though. It's not cheating. तेरी माँ की क्या बना दिया? अले no sorry what's this? Refresh explode. You know what, I don't have to. I don't like utils just JS and I can copy this. Get image URL, place HTTP this, place this. Not even sure if it's gonna work or not, but no, whatever. Yeah, lol, yo, nice bro. You should end it. A nice story, bro. Huh? Huh? What are you saying? इसकी माँ की रहा इसकी अम्मी sorry mom sorry naruhodo ne naruhodo naru return label and all that. Label, input, type, check, large. Okay, first we make a label. हटा नहीं चाहिए मुझे. Yeah. Yeah, lol, yo. Nice story, bro. What's going on here? Is it running or what? Okay, I think it's running. Yeah, of course it's running. Ah, stupid. Cool story, bro. Naruhodo. Cool story, bro is better though. What the hell is going on? That's the chat box, okay? Yo, I made it. I'm gonna check it. Like that? You like that? More casual. Yeah. Okay. Show less. Yeah, I don't wanna see all that. Image size and set is large. Okay. Big James. Use Big James. More casual. I often use IC. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Manama. HR in the list. All that. Okay. This. Like that? You like that? You like that? List. Let's create a list. You like that? You like that? You like that? First of all, you know what? Cause I can see it now. Function and list. We are not just no. We are not only solving this thing, but we are gonna build it step by step, and then we are gonna solve the problem. Big James, how big? Very big. Big James is very big. Use web. Wait a minute. I can't use that. Okay. Use. No. Big James is very big. I just made a checkbox. That's it. List, and in that list we have place, and then image size. What's this place now? Where is it coming from? Places. Data.js. Okay. Places. All that places. That's the place. Teri amma. Okay. Places. Like. Yes. हट मैं नहीं कर रहा मैं जो I don't want it items list the items directly list items you like that place let's go to places function place and that's it we return some stuff place image mama okay again I'm not doing that b what's b tag bold James place where do we need places okay places here okay okay place you know what for now we're gonna have mama okay sorry big James big James oh this is not good yeah bitch how'd you like that you like that I can place like yeah we are gonna change it let me do it first man okay sorry Ball James is here guys Ball James is here Boldy click here for Sugoi Dekai Dekai James okay Machota Dekai James Dekai Kake Dekai James how'd you like that Dekai James I'm not sure how would you write James is it right yeah it looks weird right yeah Dekai James okay enough yeah we were doing the place thing yeah where was it place dot name okay We can have that already. No. Not really, not now. Not now, cause yeah, we need to run a map function over this thing or this array. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. First. Yeah, we'll have some images first. You know what? I'm gonna add the images to here. Just for now, I know. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna add some comments. Like that means delete. Place image. Okay. मान गया यहाँ. Function. So we can see some images too. That's why. Okay, blank. Macam tu ne. Place image. Oh, my back hurts. That's the image tag and the get image URL. Okay, get image URL and place. We do that and it returns this http place and image ID. Image ID is this all these. Yeah, oh, that's very simple. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Okay. Image ma. अरे ये माँ की रहा. Okay, get image. It's fine. Get image URL. I need to export it first. Import it, I mean. Import it. Import. क्या बता दिया मैंने. Get image URL. Import like that. We don't do things manually. Now we can access it. Don't worry, I know we don't have that yet, but we'll get it. Okay, now. Okay, it's fine. I know you're like, yeah, we don't have that either. Place. Okay, like places we have that, but not yet, man. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let me copy that. Oh my god, what am I doing? Okay. We do this first. And the list thing. Image size, we're gonna do that. We can leave them empty, okay? I know a lot of you are going to be. Go away. I don't want it. You know what? Let's play with the image size first. Const image size is larger. Not okay. We're gonna use a state first. State for the image size. Did it do something? Not really. Cause we see that. Cannot read property of yeah, I know that because we need that. You know what? No. We don't care about this size for, like, we need the images first. Yeah, fuck the sizes. Where is it? The list? Yeah, of course. That means that, but bees, sorry. Okay, sorry. Places. Don't ask what's that, what that is. Map function over it, and then that's the place, and the paper function, arrow function, arrow. It's an arrow. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. I want it to work first, yeah. So I can see what's going on. Where was I? What was I doing? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are generating a list from this array, and the key. What's the key, you ask? Is there that thing, you know, place.id. Place.id. Place and then id 1 2 3, like unique key for every list. And then we have the place. Place. Oh, that means James. They say that is James, but I say it's not James. Oi, Allah. Much. Can you go? Come. Yeah, of course. Please is that. And yeah, mama. List and that, all that. But here we play. Const, I forgot. List items gonna. Now we come here. List items. Lost items. No lost items. No. Bold James. So many bold James we have. But what we do is, you know what? You go. No. We don't need, okay? Might you see that? We don't need. You're not needed. Maika. Boom. Okay. We don't need you either. Like that's image. Wait a minute. I know what I'm doing. A place prop. Place. What's the place doing? Then place comes here and here. Like place, give me place. So it's giving a place here. Then it's like place. Okay. From here to here to here. Oh, look at it. Place. Place is place. Place is place, you know. Place. Okay. Place. 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 Oh, what have I done? Place. 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 Place image. So we want the image to be here. You come down here. Okay. Like it was like that. Okay, now it's gonna become like this. Okay. Ma. Come on, everybody. Now I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind. It just makes like that. Nothing so bad, like no difference at all. But we have the place, so we can use all these. Okay. Bold James. No. No. Okay. Place name. Now we can access that. Bo Company, Cape Town, South Africa, Rainbow Village in Chuchungchung and all that. Okay. Hi. So this, and then we can have that also, which is not. Who cares? I'm gonna show you what's description. All that. Yeah, look at that. Then all I'm doing is copying stuff. Okay, we can press the place prop here, so we can access it to generate some images. Okay. So here he says, give me place. I say, hot. Sorry. Okay. Then I gave him the places. It's like, oh, boom. My ass hurts. And then we get the places here, like that. Okay. What we do now is we set the width, then all that suit. Yeah, we're gonna do that. First. Okay. Akshay san wa kyou wa inai no kana? I don't know either. It's very late today. Like, he comes every day, almost every day, but today I'm not sure. You know, you can message him. If he's awake, then he'll reply. Is large, set large, and like use state false and that. Okay. Okay, for that to have to that, to that, to that, to that. Ticket of barrel. Okay. Const. My legs. My legs. Is large. Set is large. We said that. So what we do is we use state and initially we set it to false. Then what we do is like create a variable like image size which stores our image size. So is large. If it's large, teri maa ki. If it's true, then it's one of them like that, and if it's false, on that. We don't care about that. Who? Okay. Who wants it? Nobody cares. Get image URL. We get it from here. Okay. Set image is large. Okay, so with this on click event, if we do that, they kind of right now it doesn't do anything, doesn't do much. I mean, like it's doing that, getting checked and unchecked, but we want it to do perform some action, which is checked is large. Okay. Hi. On change. Sorry. First we do that. Okay, so like we can properly. That's a properly missed. I will show you. I will. Yeah, like. No, nothing. Oh wait, just wait. You wait. Curve. It does that. What? You ask what? It does that. What? It does that. Well, you'll see. What's checked though? Checked is large. I mean, checked is large. That means true. No, false. Sorry. Okay, is large. Don't have to do that. हट पे आ जाओ, मैं नहीं कर रहा ये सब कुछ. So on change event, on change click or whatever, you can say anything that you want. I'll give you all I need from you. I like this, so I put it like that. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna set the image, set large. What you ask? No. Target and then hut is large. No. Wait a minute. Image size. First we'll pass down this prop. You know what, I'm gonna copy the both things, and I was gonna do like that. List to here, it comes here, goes there, then we give it that. What you ask is this. Then we come here to place, and place is like I want image size, so I say you take it, he say I take it, okay. Then place image, it says image size doko, I say koko. Width da yo ne. I say image size sorry. Okay, that makes Papa James is not working right now, but it's gonna work, okay. Then we set the height. Now image be like image size, then I say this, you take this. What am I saying? Hi. Not doing anything, don't worry, cause we do this. You ask what? Don't ask what, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, sorry. Please name. You can place a name. Name. Okay, we go back, we go up, we be like what, bro be like what, I say like So what we do, check the chat. Oh, so is larger. Check. ये माँ करे बा. ちょっとなってねよ. Okay, sorry. I'll stop doing that. Place image, and then list. We have the list, and we have, no, we don't have that. We have okay, sorry. Okay, like we have app has list has places, place image, place with place image. Okay, all that like that. तो सा देख के is this one right? देखिए ओपा sorry. Yeah, what was I doing? देखिए input today like that, we do that. Okay, but okay, sorry, I will stop doing but what is happening? What Nothing. Okay, sorry. This thing is it's large. He said that. देख के you know what? Go to hell. I'm missing something, which is false. Is checked. So checked is large. Large is what? It's false. So if we click, if checked is false. If checked is false. If it's not checked, it's true. I love huge. Okay. Me too. Same. Okay, wait a minute. Oppe. Dekke oppe. Bare. Oppai. Dekke oppai. Oppai. How do you like oppai? Oppai. Sekai? Is it correct? Deke oppai. Okay, right. No. So like now I understood. Like if it's checked, ippai jane oppai. Oh, oppai. Checked. We set it to large. Is large, which is initially false. Okay, large is false. So checked. If checked, it's false. If unchecked, but I checked. Okay. See that. Okay. Okay. देखे ting ching tang ching tang ching tang ching tang ching tang ching. Oh my god. देखा ही वो तो कोई Yeah, देखे देखा ही वो तो कोई हाय休憩時間ナイスなるほどなるほどねなるほどね Okay, like now we do the real thing. Let me compare everything first. Like we have to write the context here. Let me check if everything is right. What if I don't have the CSS? いいのかな Yeah, like this should be here and this should be here. Where is the image? image thing. Please image. Da yo ne. Now it's fine. Da yo ne.ちょっと待ってね。Hi. Tadaima. Hi. Deke. That's fine. Enough. Okay. Looks the same, you know. Let's compare. I know, like I did everything, but still. Image large bitch. Use large. Dekai opai. Yeah. Okay. Hi. How do you say them? Like what do you say then? Tadaima okairi. Okay, then list. We come to list. List be like we be like okay, and then we come here, places. Of course we copied, but we used our brain, so fine. Image size and image size, do that. Eh? Oh yeah, I know that, like what's happening here. We have our own CSS, so is it cause of that? Not sure. That they are wrapped. Yeah, that's a train. That's a train. A train come. But I don't know anything about programming. Me neither. Me neither. Hi, that's a train. Yes, a train. That's an Indian train. Okay, let's do the question first. In this example, toggling the checkbox, okay, like that, changes the image size prop passed to each place image. Okay, pass to each, okay, image size, that changes. Okay, in this example, toggling the checkbox changes the image size prompt passed to each place image. The checkbox state is held in the top level app component. Yeah, we know that, which is here. Okay, doko yeah, like here. Okay, the checkbox state yeah, checkbox state is here. Like checkbox state is this checked, so like this, false, true, that. The checkbox state is held in the top level app component, but each place image needs to be aware of it. Each place image needs to be aware of it. Each place image, which is this? Each place image needs to be aware of it. Yeah, currently app passes image size to list, yeah, we know that, list, and then which passes it to each place here. Okay, this like do that and that, which passes it to place image. Remove the image size prop and instead pass it down to app component directly. Okay. We have this. So remove the image prop. Okay, we're gonna remove that. We need to remove. Okay, and instead pass it from app component directly to place image. Place, like image inside place inside list, and list we have here. Okay, we can do that. Instead pass it from app component directly to place image. You can declare okay. So first we import, import, create context that we imported. Okay. Then what we can have is, what's the syntax? I'm gonna have to use my brain. Then that means create context. Okay, we can look at that thing. Level context, create context 0. Okay. Initial image size. This time I think it's going to be a boolean value. Let's leave. Okay, let's name it context only. Mommy, not sure if I'm doing it right or not. Okay. Component place image is in place, list is app. Wallah. Hi Allah. I'm gonna read that question again. Okay. Is that gonna work? In this example, toggling the checkbox changes the image prop paths to each place image. The checkbox state is held in the top level app component. Okay, state is held in the top prop paths to place image. In this example, toggling the checkbox changes the image size prop paths to each place. yeah, pass to each place image. The checkbox state is held in the top level app component. Checkbox state is held in the top level app component, but each place image needs to be aware of it. Okay. So yeah, of course. But like, yeah, don't play with me. Currently, app passes image size to list. Currently, app passes image size to list and list to place to place image. Remove the image prop. Instead, pass it from app component directly. So yeah, the three golden rules. Okay, create a context. Boom, created it. 1.2, don't die. Rule number 2, use the context from the component that needs the data. Okay, so who needs the data is this guy. Okay, this guy. How do you like? I know it, but like I need to a little cheating is allowed. Okay, like yeah, we do it like that. Sorry. Doko. Use not state context, bitch. React. We have it over here, right? Use context. Yeah. And what we do is we use it. Use it how, you ask? Ha, bitch. Don't kid. Stop kidding. Okay, a little cheating is allowed. Yeah. Nandaro. Okay, const. We're gonna const. I'm confused with the name. Like, what should I name it? I can name it anything, but the checkbox state is held in the top level app component, but each place image needs to be aware of it. Currently, app passes image to list and blah, 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 blah. Instead, pass it from yeah. So that means I'm dumb. I'm dumb. लेवल सबके निकलेंगे, चिंता मत करो, लेवल सबके निकलेंगे. ओके लेवल सबके निकलेंगे. अरे I know. What we have to do is still it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work, bitch. Okay. No, nothing. Don't worry. We have the third rule. Where is it? Yeah. Provide that context from the component that specifies the data. A section will provide level context. Okay. So that's the app component, which is providing image size. Like, if it's large, is large true, then this, and not, then this. So image size. That means how do you use it? Sorry. Okay. I'm not sure if I should name it that. Kalu is best. Kalu is best. Provide that context from the component that specifies the data. Section will provide level context. But level सबके निकलेंगे बेटे. Create component and then we come here providing. How do we provide it? Children. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Level. I think I get it. Context. I might be wrong. Yeah. Totally prepared to be embarrassed. Yeah. Value. That value. Okay. That value. Should if I one thing is not clear. If I should should I leave it like that? माँ की इसकी. You're gonna do something like show me something. Mommy. Okay, the value is we say false. Okay, false. Oh my, I think I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Really, I don't have. I think I'm doing it wrong. The section component currently renders as child. Mine is rendering this thing, so yeah, I'm gonna wrap it in this inside of the. Oh my son. लेवल दे देंगे अपन इसको तो लेवल तो ये भाई बहुत बढ़िया मतलब कालू हो गया इधर. कालू हो गया भाई इधर तो. कालू हो गया भाई. कालू हो गया. कालू दे दूँगा मैं तो इसको भाई. माने तो ठीक है, ना माने तो ठीक है भाई. मैंने गया मुझे क्या है भाई. Okay, now we see that context is not defined. Daione. Huh? Be like you, be like Billie Eilish. Okay. Now, oh wow, I like that. तो ना बड़ा बबी नहीं चाहिए भाई. Value prop is required. Okay. Image size is not defined at please image size is not okay. Yeah, I know that, but na ma ino gana oi huh? Ah, ah, ah. Kalu, we use Kalu. Kalu, ino ka na? Oh, we did something. Oh. We see some light. Yeah, okay. It's not working. Yeah. When you don't know what to do, you open console. Okay. No errors. That means now only one thing left to do is use your brains. Oh me. We don't need that, like, you know, we don't need to pass the image prompt now. We don't need it now, so we remove it first. Like, we removed unnecessary prompts that nobody wants. Like, I don't want. If you want it, you take it. I ain't taking it. How? Like that. I see like that. Yeah. What about false? Should I provide, like, 0 would work? False? Oh, mama. Is it even doing something? Anyway. I don't think I should provide that. Like, 0 is fine, right? Okay, let's go through the steps one more time. Yeah. Like, create stuff. No, the golden rules. Create a context. We did that. Okay. Exported also. You can call it level or hack. Use that context from the component. So where we go is we go here. Okay, this thing, place image component. That's where we want to use that. Heading will use level context. We don't need to read that. Use that context from the component that needs the data. Yeah. Okay. Like, we use that, then we store it in this Kalu. Then we, like, there was image size, and we removed that prop, and, like, we gave this, like, replace that prop. Yeah, like, understand? Provide would make this thing like that. Now the last thing is left is, like, when I'm clicking on this, it should change the image size. First of all, yeah, should it? Yeah. Image size is not declared. It's just gonna work. It's not taking the size though. It should take the size. Why am I, like, do I need to give it the size? No. right? No, because no. Whoa. Oh, yeah. What? Okay, at least we have the images. Oh yeah. We have it, but let read it. Provide that context from the component that specifies the data. Provide that context. We do like that. I need to read that third section. Provide the context. A section component currently renders as children. Okay, it renders as children. Wrap then with the context provider. What? Yo, what's going on? App. But stop laughing. Export. Wrap them with the context provided to provide the level context. Okay, we do that. Wrap them section component, right? Oh, component currently renders as children. Wrap them with the context provided to provide a V level context to them. Okay, this tells React if any component inside section asks them level context, give them this level. कालू की माँ की कालू पागल है भाई, कालू पागल है भाई, कालू का सटक रखा है. Mummy. Hey, wait a minute. It's the same result as the original code, but did not need to pass level prompt to each heading component. Instead, it figures out its heading level by asking the closest section above, using the providing context for the same. You pass a level prompt to the section wraps its children into value level. Heading asks all the closest. I think I'm doing it. You here. Place image nearest is this guy. Right? Boom. Boom. How about that? No. Okay. We look at the console too. Hi. Like, huh? Is there any answer? Yeah. Bro, show solution. Yeah, of course. Please. But remove image size from all components. I did that. Create and export image size context. Like context, image size context. From context or JS. Then wrap the list into this. Yeah, I did that. Like, you go away. We don't need you. That much I did. Like context, yeah, we have the like this name, so fine. And then value is image size. Oh, I'm gonna come. So that was the only thing that I was doing wrong. Passing the wrong value here. Like I cheated a little in the last, but okay, देख के ऊपर देख के oh mama. Okay, so the value is not Kalu hut. What Kalu is doing, you ask? Kalu is doing that. देख के finally देख के yo, I almost cried. Dang. देख के, should I replace it with some opai image? Okay, that's image size, not that. Let me analyze the code again. The 3 steps: create it, then we name it. That's where we want to use it. So we remove that, the prop, and instead we use the context with this sexy context. Boom, we store it inside this variable or whatever you call it. Boom, like that. Boom and boom. Allah, sorry. Sorry. Okay, and then this goes here and here because we are replacing that prop names with this. Okay, prop names, yeah, and names props or whatever. Allah, what did I do? Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. Carry on. And yo, I was so excited. Okay, I'm sorry. It works. Then we do that, and we did that. Okay. So I did this. Then the value, the actual value. What, you ask? What, you say? What? Like I say, huh? Then we are using it. The context, we use it. Provided. That's the term, right? Provide the context. Yeah, we are providing the context here. Provide that context from the component that specifies the data. Okay, so yeah, here go, we don't need you. Okay, and here we wrap it inside this context thing, component. But and the list, and we give it the value is needed If we don't have the value, it throws an error. You wanna see the error? Because I want to. Boom! Value prop is required for the context dot provider. Did you misspell it or forget it about it? No, forget to pass it. No, I didn't forget it. I did it on purpose. So that value, and value is what? Value is what? Here, that's what the value is. Like, so this is what's doing. Like, if we check it, it becomes false. If we uncheck it, it becomes true. So yeah, that's the thing we stored inside this bitch, and yeah, this we passed over here. Sorry. Yeah, so if it's false, it's this. If it's true, it's this. Okay, so that true. I'm milking it now. Enough. Okay. Too much. I like that. Come on, everybody. Now I've got to go. Yeah, now I can watch my real stuff. I understood the context thing. That was kind of a side project. Now I can watch the Big James videos.
What's good, team?
Big James, the man. Now I'm watching is the last. That was the video. Boo 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 boo. That was the video. No, I need to.
And that's going to be an object. And what I can do is logged in. This person have a record in our database. If they've just registered, they won't. That's totally cool. They'll create one when they go into our application. From within anywhere in our application. Now the other thing we're going to do in here,
Ask.provider. I understand that. I get it. Why you did that? Bam.
To throw that match condition underneath the first. So the moral of the story is that when we're trying to write to a user's document, or their basically database that's specific to their user ID, they need to be authenticated, and the signature of their authentication has to match their user ID. So now we can go ahead and publish these changes, and with that done, we have configured our Cloud Firestore. So all of the stuff on the internet is done. Firebase is added to our application. How do we actually really finish the configuration? Well, all of that happens within this auth context configure added to our application. How do we actually really finish the configuration? Well, all of that happens within this auth context file. Now, as I said earlier, the context basically wraps our entire application and works as a global state. So we define some states here, and they can be accessed super easily anywhere in our application, no matter the hierarchy. Now you might ask, if that's the case, why don't we just use the context for all state? And that's because it becomes less efficient. So you want to really pick and choose where you have your global states. And in this case, a user authentication state is globally necessary. So that's the one we're going to use it for. Now at the top of this file, the first thing we need to do is import some hooks. And specifically the hooks that we're going to need is use state, use effect, and use context. And they're going to come from the React package. Now underneath there, the next thing we can do is we can export a default function called, and actually it's not a default function in this case, it's just export a function, and the function is called auth provider, because it's our we're basically provisioning our authentication. And this receives some props, and then when we open that function up, we can destructure out the children from the props, because this is obviously a wrapper for our entire
Actually, what's happening here is we just learned the plain use context. Okay, that we can use it with the props and all. Yeah. No. Okay. Sign in. Oh wow. Okay, sorry. This one I like. What if I send away? I'm not distracted. Okay, sorry. Sorry. There was a line I read. Yeah. Okay, sorry. There was something. Sorry. There was something I read. Okay. Okay, man, you are fine.
Necessary, so that's the one we're going to use it for. Now at the top of this file, the first thing we need to do is import some hooks. And specifically the hooks that we're going to need is use state, use effect, and use context. And they're going to come from the React package. Now underneath there, the next thing we can do is we can export a default function called, and actually it's not a default function in this case, it's just export a function, and the function is called auth provider, because it's our we're basically provisioning our authentication. And this receives some props, and then when we open that function up, we can provider, because it's our we're basically provisioning our authentication. And this receives some props, and then when we open that function up, we can destructure out the children from the props, because this is obviously a wrapper for our entire application. So you can think of it as a set of opening and closing tags like we've seen historically that has contents within them. Now at the very bottom, and then when we open that for our entire app structure out the children from the props, because this is obviously a wrapper for our entire application. So you can think of it as a set of opening and closing tags like we've seen historically that has contents within them. Now at the very bottom, what we return from this function is still JSX, so still a React functional component, except it's actually a special, basically secondary component that we have to export, or better said, it's actually a context. So the way we initialize the context is we come up above where we've defined the functional component, and we just say const auth context is equal to create context. Now we need to make sure that also gets imported from the React.js package just up the top. So we create a context, and then what we return from the auth provider component is the auth context dot provider opening tag component a context, and then what we return from the auth provider component is the auth context dot provider opening tag and corresponding closing tags, and then from within here we render out the children contents. Now as for what gets passed down as a global state, here I'm just going to define a variable called value.
Oh, it's Big James. Yeah. Back to James. Big James. Papa James.
And that's going to be an object. Here, I'm just going to define a variable called value, and that's going to be an object. And what I can do is pass a prop down to this general global state, this context, that's just value is equal to value, and anything that is contained within this dictionary becomes part of our global state. For a main state, this context, that's just value is equal to value, and anything that is contained within this dictionary becomes part of our global state. Down to this general global state, this context, that's just value is equal to value, and anything that is contained.
Yeah.
State this context. And what I can do is pass a prop down to this general global state, this context, that's just value is equal to value, and anything that is contained within this dictionary becomes part of our global state. For example, if I wanted to have a stateful variable called user, and set user is equal to use state, and that's by default null, then what I can do is I can in here just pass in the user, and now that is going to be added to our global state that we could access from anywhere. And now that is going to be added to our global state, contained from the auth provider.
Ah. Okay.
Secondary component that we have to export, or better said, it's actually a defined so it gets in text. And then what we return from the auth provider component is the auth context dot provider opening tag and corresponding closing tags, and then from within here we render out the children contents. Now as for what gets passed down as a global state, here I'm just going to define a variable called value, and that's going to be an object. And what I can do is pass a prop down to this general global state, this context, that's just value is equal to value, and anything that is contained within this dictionary becomes part of our global state. Contained within this dictionary becomes part of our global state. For example, if I wanted to have a stateful variable called user, and set user is equal to use state, and that's by default null, then what I can do is I can in here just pass in the user, and now that is going to be added to our global state that we could access from anywhere. Going to be added to our global state. I can in here just pass in the user, and now that is going to be added to our global state that we could access from anywhere. Now, in addition to this code that we have so far, there's one extra thing I'm going to add that's going to make this context incredibly easy to read in any component from within our application. And we're basically going to turn it into a React hook, a custom React hook. And so I'm going to export a function, this is above our component, called useAuth, and that's a lowercase useAuth. And we know it's a hook because it's got the use in front of it. And all we're going to do in here is return the use context hook, and in here we're going to pass in our auth context. And so what that's going to do is that's just in here we're going to pass in our auth context.
Use context.
And so what that's going to do is that's just going to create a custom hook from which we can destructure out any of these values. Now that's a lot of information to take in. We'll understand how it works as we continue to build it out and add it to our application. So thus far we've only defined a state to manage the user. We're add it to our application. So thus far we've only defined a state to manage the user. We're going to need a secondary state called const global data and set global data, and that's also going to be equal to use state and have a default value of null. Because if a user is unauthenticated, we don't have a global state. And then the last, because if a user is unauthenticated, we don't have a global state. And then the last one we're going to define is user is unauthenticated, we don't have a global state. And then the last one we're going to define is one called loading and set loading, or actually even better, let's go with is loading and set is loading. And that's going to be equal to use state by default false. And essentially we can add these three stateful variables to our global state by just throwing them into this data right here. So we can have global data. We're also going to need set global data. We're going to need the setter function, and we're also going to need is loading. And so now all of these stateful values are accessible from within anywhere in our application. These stateful values are accessible from within anywhere in our application. Now the other thing we're going to do in here is add in some authentication. Now the other thing we're going to do in here is add in some authentication handlers. Now the way that these work, when we installed the Firebase package, we also got handlers. Now the way that these work in our application. Now the other thing we're going to do in here is add in some authentication handlers. Now the way that these work, when we installed the Firebase package, we also got access to a whole lot of handy dandy stuff to effortlessly manage authentication and database actions. For example, we could create a function in here is add in some authentication handlers. Now the way that these work, when we installed the Firebase package, we also got access to a whole lot of handy dandy stuff to effortlessly manage authentication and database actions. For example, we could create a function in here called sign up, and that receives an email and a password as an argument. And to get Firebase to authenticate or sign up a user, all we have to do from this function, we're going to return access to a whole lot of handy dandy stuff to effortlessly manage authentication and database actions. For example, we could create a function in here called sign up, and that receives an email and a password as an argument. And to get Firebase to authenticate or sign up a user, all we have to do from this function, we're going to return out what's known as create user with email and password. And here we can see the auto import come up from the Firebase package. So I'm going to slam enter on that. And this right here is now imported from the Firebase /auth package. Create user with email and password. That's exactly what we're looking for. And all we do in here is we pass in auth, which we also have to import from our Firebase package. If you recall, we exported auth. So now we import Firebase package. If you recall, we exported auth. So now we import auth from Firebase, we pass that in just there, and then we follow that up with an email and a password. Now that's an asynchronous function, and we'll see how we handle it shortly, but currently we've just created a function for signing up. Likewise, we're going to have a function for logging in that also takes an email and a password, and we return sign in with email and password. So we're going to also have to import sign in with email and password, and once again we pass in the auth, which is now already imported, the email and the password, and we just return that from login. Now I'm going to move this value line down the very bottom because it needs to be the last thing above what we return from this function. And there's a whole lot of functions you could add. Another one is going to be called sign out, or actually let's call it log out. And that actually doesn't need any arguments, but all we return is sign out from Firebase auth, ensuring that we add sign out. Just make sure we import that. And that just takes the auth because it doesn't need any arguments. In this case, when a user signs out, we also want to set the user state to null and set user or set global data to null as well, because we shouldn't keep a person's data if we don't currently have them signed in. If they're wanting to log out, we need to clear all of their states. Now there's a load of these functions. And with logout done, there's one more I'm going to add. You could figure out how to incorporate this, but it's just a function called reset password. Sometimes that can be handy, and that just takes the email, and from within it we return send password reset email, which needs to once again be imported from Firebase auth. And all we do is we pass in auth and email. So you can see how easy it is to basically handle authentication using Firebase auth and add it to our project. And now that we've created these functions, all we do is we throw them into our value right here. So we're going to throw in sign up, we're going to throw in login, and also log out. And now that we've created these functions, all we do is we throw them into our value right here. So we're going to throw in sign up, we're going to throw in login, and also log out. I'm not going to worry about the reset password. If you want to figure out how you could add that in, you're more than welcome to. But now these functions have been added to our global state, and that allows us to use them in the authentication component, and we'll see how that works shortly. Now we're not quite done with this file just yet. There's a few other things we have to add. You might notice up here we have a use effect that needs to be used. So the question becomes, how do we use this use effect? Well, just above the value, because once again the value is the last thing we're going to pass down, we're going to throw in our use effect. Now I know I've said historically that the use effect is the last thing above all of this stuff just here, what you return, the JSX, and technically I think we should actually stick to that and just put the value above it. But the use effect in this case is very special and super important. Now the first thing, if you recall, the use effect takes two arguments. One is a callback function, the logic to be executed when the event that we're looking for is triggered. And the second is a dependency array that contains, or potentially doesn't contain anything that determines when this logic gets run. So in this case, we're going to leave the dependency array to be empty because we want this logic to basically execute when the page loads for the first time. Now, what happens in here is we define an event listener that we're going to attach to our application that listens for authentication events. And the way that we do that is we call a function called onAuthStateChanged. That's once again available from within our Firebase package, onAuthStateChanged. So we have to ensure that we import that. And this very special function takes some arguments. So the first argument is the auth. It needs to associate it with our auth. And the second is an arrow function that's actually asynchronous. And what we're going to do is assign this to a variable called unsubscribe. is equal to this particular function, and from within the use effect we're going to return unsubscribe, and this is what's known as a cleanup. Essentially it just means that we don't have any data leakages or anything random in our use effects. This is typically fairly uncommon, but in this case we're assigning a special event listener, so we need to make sure that if we close our application that we then consequently remove it, clean it up, so to speak. Now this on that contains, or potentially doesn't contain anything, that determines when this logic gets run. So in this case we're going to leave the dependency array to be empty because we want this logic to basically execute when the page loads for the first time. Now what happens in here is we define an event listener that we're going to attach to our application that listens for an event listener that we're going to time. Now what happens in here is we define an event listener that we're going to attach to our application that listens for authentication events. And the way that we do that is we call a function called onAuthStateChanged. That's once again available from within our Firebase package, onAuthStateChanged. So we have to ensure that we import that. And this very special function takes some arguments. So the first argument is the auth. It needs to associate it with our auth. And the second is an arrow function that's actually asynchronous. And what we're going to do is assign this to a auth takes some arguments. So the first argument is the auth. It needs to associate it with our auth. And the second is an arrow function that's actually asynchronous. And what we're going to do is assign this to a variable called unsubscribe is equal to this particular function, and from within the use effect we're going to return unsubscribe. And this is what's known as a cleanup. Essentially it just means that we don't have any data leakages or anything random in our use effects. This is typically fairly uncommon, but in this case we're assigning a special event listener, so we need to make sure that if we close our application up, essentially we're going to return unsubscribe. And this is what's known as a cleanup. Essentially it just means that we don't have any data leakages or anything random in our use effects. This is typically fairly uncommon, but in this case we're assigning a special event listener, so we need to make sure that if we close our application that we then consequently remove it, clean it up, so to speak. Now this onAuthStateChanged function listens for when a user signs in, for when they sign out, when they register, and essentially we're going to leverage it for a few things. Now it receives an argument, which is the user. It takes a user as an argument. And we've actually already defined the user up here, so what I'm going to do is change the state to our global user to keep it consistent with our data. So this is going to be set global user, and I'm going to have to make sure that we consequently update that in here. So this is going to be global user inside of our value that gets passed down. And that's because when our onAuthStateChanged happens, let's say a user logs in for the first time, it's going to give us that user. It's going to give us all of the information about that user, not all of the time. It's because when our onAuthStateChanged happens, let's say a user logs in for the first time, it's going to give us that user. It's going to give us all of the information about that user, not all of the data necessarily, but all the information like the user ID that we need to then fetch all the data. And so what happens in here, it's going to give us all of the information about that user, not all of the data necessarily, but all the information like the user ID that we need to then fetch all the data. And so what happens in here is we say if there's no user, empty the user state and return from this listener, I guess, this authentication listener. Return from this listener, I guess, this authentication listener. If there is a user, then check if the user has data in the database, and if they do, then fetch said data and update the global state. So that's relatively straightforward. Essentially what's going to happen is, let's say user signs out. That means that this user right here will be blank because there's no user. Let's say user signs out. That means that this user right here will be blank because there's no user. Then all we do is we empty the states and return out of the function. And if they do sign in or they register, let's say they register for example, then we'll get access to that new user, and then we can go to the database, say, does this person have a record in our database? If they've just registered, they won't. That's totally cool. They'll create one when they go into our application. We can update our global state to match that new user. Here, listener, I guess, this authentication listener. If there is a user said, let's say user signs out, that means that this user right here will be blank because there's no user. Then all we do is we empty the states and return out of the function. And if they do sign in or they register, let's say they register for example, then we'll get access to that new user. Register, let's say they register for example, then we'll get access to that new user, and then we can go to the database, say, does this person have a record in our database? If they've just registered, they won't. That's totally cool. They'll create one when they go into our application. We can update our global state to match that. This, for example, then we'll get access to that new user, and then we can go to the database, say, does this person have a record in our database? If they've just registered, they won't. That's totally cool. They'll create one when they go into our application. We can update our global state to match that new user, and if they do have a record, we then fetch all of that information. And Firebase authentication is super clever. So let's say a user is logged in, they close the web page and then they revisit the web. So let's say a user is logged in, they close the web page and then they revisit the web page. It automatically runs this authentication check because it's clever. So let's say a user is logged in, they close the web page and then they revisit the web page. It automatically runs this authentic web page and then they revisit. Super clever. So let's say a user is logged in, they close the web page and then they revisit the web page. It automatically runs this authentication check because it's inside of this user effect when the page loads. And if we find that they've been previously logged in, we update that login state and we go and fetch the data automatically, and then everything just works perfectly. So to come in here and basically make all of this work, we're just going to say if not user, the first thing we're going to do is return out of here. We don't need anything. If we do in fact have a user, then we need to run some of these checks. And I like to run this stuff inside of a try catch. We catch the error. And finally block. Now if we catch an error, we always want to console.log the error.message. And for the try, the first thing we want to do is say set is loading equal to true, because we're loading a whole lot of information. And then at the end of this process, we want to set is loading equal to false. Now, as for what we do underneath the loading state, this is where we can now go and fetch all of the data. This is going to be the first introduction to fetching data from the database. And essentially how it works, the first thing we do, if you recall coming over to our Firebase database, we have collections right here, where a collection contains a bunch of documents, where a document is just a key and a value that's an object. A bunch of documents, where a database, we have collections right here, where a collection contains a bunch of documents, where a document is just a key and a value that's an object. So we have a collection, a user's collection, and we need to create that as a reference to let Firebase know which data we're trying to access. So the first thing we do in here is we define a variable called docRef, and that's equal to the doc method, which we have to import from the Firebase /Firestore package. So now that we've got doc, what we can do is pass in our database, give it access to our database, which needs to be imported from /Firebase. If you recall, that's the second thing we define down here is our database. So we say fetch from within our database, and then what we do is we provide the collection, which is the user's collection, and we check database, So we say fetch from within our database, and then what we do is we provide the collection, which is the user's collection, and we check for the user and we access the unique ID. So that's going to basically say, here's the document, let's see if we can get something from that. Underneath that, what we're going to do is say const doc snap. We're going to take a snapshot of the current document, and that's a method that we need to await. And then what we're going to do is say get the doc. Now this is also a Firebase method. We have to call get doc. And then once we've gotten the doc, we can now pass in the doc ref. So we say get this doc, and we pass in the reference to the doc, and then we take a snapshot of that document. Get this doc, and we pass in the reference to the doc, and then we take a snapshot of that document. So I'm just going to make some notes so that if you want to look back at the code, this is here. First, we create a reference for the, if I can spell that correctly, reference for the document, which is just a labeled JSON object, and then we get the doc, and then we snapshot it to see if there's anything there. So that's what this first process does. Now underneath here, what I'm going to do is define a variable called Firebase data, and I'm just going to initialize that as an empty object, because if we don't get any information back, then we're just going to use an empty object as our basically data instead. And underneath that, I'm going to say, okay, we've initialized some Firebase data to an empty object, but if the snapshot that we fetched, the doc snap, and we call an exists method, if it exists, then in here we can say console.log found user data, which is pretty cool. So we found some user data, and we can overwrite the empty data state inside of Firebase data, and we can now say it's equal to doc snap.data and call the data method, and that's going to get all of the data and assign it to Firebase data, and we can now say it's equal to doc snap.data and call the data method, and that's going to get all of the data and assign it to our variable, basically overwrite it from this empty state. So that's pretty nifty. And then at the end of this whole process, what we can do underneath Firebase data is we can say set global data equal. So that's pretty nifty. And then at the end of this whole process, what we can do underneath Firebase data is we can say set global data equal to Firebase data. With Firebase data is we can say set global data equal to Firebase data, and Bob's your uncle. We've essentially created a function or an authentication listener that when an authentication action happens, we've essentially created a function or an authentication listener that function or an we've essentially created a function or an authentication listener that when an authentication action happens, for example, a page loads and we run some saved authentication token to see if there's an existing user, or when they register, we basically check the database, see if they have any data associated with their unique ID, and then add it to our global state, which can be accessed from anywhere inside of our page. And so if we go ahead and save this, that is the end of our auth context for the minute. Now the last thing we need to do is actually render this somewhere within our application, and the place that we're going to do that is inside the main.jsx. Right here, I said that the context is a wrapper for our entire application, and so we are literally going to render out auth provider is the name of the component, and we have to make sure we import that from context/auth context, and we're going to wrap our application or our app component inside of the auth provider. And now if I go ahead and save that, we are finally ready to boot up our project and see if everything we've done works. So we can go ahead and open that up on this page right here. Let's reload that, and lo and behold, everything works. Praise be to whatever God you believe in, or potentially no God, your brilliant coding skills. That has now worked. If something in that process went wrong, we would get errors for millennia. Now that we have this global state working, our application is wrapped, what we could actually do